Hi, welcome to the Ninjutsu podcast. I'm your host, Don Rowley. I had thought about taking a hiatus and getting some content together that, well, good editing and stuff like that, make a little stuff. But there was something that happened today that I just kind of like, I'm going to respond to this. So here you go. Talking about home study courses and home practice in the main. So this is inspired by some guy named Jason Steves who's got his own Taijutsu home study course. And well, in another video, I'll go into why you can't learn Taijutsu from video courses. You at an advanced stage, once you have a good foundation that you can pick certain things up, kind of like how a very bad analogy, Garth, don't run with it. But a doctor can read a medical journal and pick something up from it. I can't. I don't have that foundation, okay? So if you're going to take a video course from the start, it's going to be disaster, okay? And I'll go into that more later on. But in the group, someone called Faith in Canada or something like that, who I bet a lot of money is Jason Steve, was trying to promote this, and he threw out this quote that 90% of your studies should be at home, 10% in the dojo. And he was trying to say this in order to promote a home study course. Completely wrong, okay? So yes, Soke has said certain things around me that, kind of conform with the fact that most of your training should be at home. Does not mean home study course. You've got to learn from a real teacher because you don't know what you don't know. And you need that person to show you what it is. But then 10 times the practice in the dojo should be on your own. You should be shadow boxing. If you showed it's even throws, you can practice as if you are throwing someone, even though there's no one there. If you can get together with someone else, great. But this is the thing that I've been noticing, and I really it's endemic in America. I mean, previously I've said that if you really want to install discipline in your child, don't send them to martial arts school. Give them a violin. Let them play a violin. The reasoning is that it seems like a lot of people expect the only training to go on in the dojo. But nobody seems to think that if they send their kid to a violin class, that the kid will only practice violin under the guidance of a teacher, when the teacher is there. They're expected to come home and then work on it on their own. That takes discipline. And unfortunately, a lot of times in the martial arts, and Taijutsu is no exception, people think that just going to the dojo and practicing techniques in the dojo is enough. I remember years ago I was doing a seminar in New York and someone came up to me and said, well, I have problems with my students who don't, will not study a class, and I'm trying to find ways to do that. What are your thoughts on, getting people to practice outside of class? And my response was, I don't accept students that wouldn't practice outside of class. And that's what it is. I mean, I don't want to throw his name out, but he's a very respected Taijutsu practitioner. I don't want to name drop, but this guy, he's one of the guys that are better than me, and definitely better than Jason Steves ever will be. And I remember him talking about how he went to his first class and he learned how to punch. And then he just started working on the punch, punch. He just started just doing this on his own, throwing a punch on his own. And again, this guy has gotten damn good. But again, I'm finding out, I'm going up to, a little group get together. I'm finding there are people that are they only train when they're in the dojo. And one of them gave the reasons that, they're afraid that, they'll make a mistake. And again, with home study courses, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. If you make a mistake and you drill that mistake in, you don't know what the mistake is because, let's face it, you're not an expert in combat yet. That's why you're going to class. And they're worried about that. But that's why you have to keep going back to a teacher and re-examining the same material. You don't see something just once. You go out, you practice it, you get kind of familiar with the information, through solo practice. Then you go back and then you examine it. And that's another rant about me, is people thinking that, they've already seen X, let's go on to Y. Well, okay. I really encourage people, if they get a teacher, that they can go to to re-examine what there are. You know, if you go to Japan and there's a teacher that you always go to when you go to Japan, and they showed you something 2 years ago, 1 year ago, whatever, ask them to show it to you again. And as you have familiarity, then you'll probably see differences. I mean, once you first see something, you're kind of overwhelmed. You may get 70% of it, missing 30%. Yeah, so as soon as possible, you know, after a few months, if possible, go back to the teacher, find out what things you missed the first time, and then practice them. But again, you can't do without practice. You can't let the fear of drilling these things in to stop you from practicing on your own. You need a teacher, and you need to practice on your own. You need to take responsibility for your training, for your skill level, rather than just let the teacher do it. You need the teacher, but you need to take responsibility. It's it makes sense. So yeah, that's it. Train at home, solo practice. My personal workout, I set up music. I set up music mixes, and typically they're between 1 hour and 20 minutes and 1 hour and 30 minutes. Practice them 7 days a week. It comes out to about 10 hours a week. 10 hours a week with 2 weeks off because of illness or whatever, just miss a session. You're still doing like 500 hours a year, and that builds up little by little. The Japanese have a saying that roughly translates, enough dust makes a mountain. So just, like an hour and 20 minutes, but less, even less, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Constant practice on your own. Practice punching. Practice kata as if you were practicing with a partner. Practice combinations. Hit something like, a bag, makiwara. I've got a bob. You've been in some of my videos. Do not expect to only train in the dojo and get better. The people that practice whenever they can, they will outshine the people that just will do the bare minimum outside of the dojo. And that's the real message that Soki Hatsumi was trying to say when he said 90% or so, whatever he said, of training should be outside the dojo. Not watching videos, trying to learn the techniques, but practicing the stuff that you've seen so you can get it down through repetition and practice. Thank you. And if you have any questions or comments about this type of thing, keep it respectful, but put a comment, in the comment section. Hit like and subscribe if you want. If not, I really don't care. See ya.